Let me show you how to make this at home on a budget. Hi everybody and a warm welcome back to MapleLeaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew. If you're a diecast customizer like me, you've probably got a collection of Hot Wheels redlines. These are the very desirable cars that came out in an original set of 16. I found some on eBay, I've been gifted a few by friends. Most often the case is when I get them, they look like they've been chewed by the dog. But restoring these is the name of the game, and so the search is always on to find the right supplies to do the job correctly. You really want to get that original Spectraflame paint look. Those came out in a variety of colors. I've done several of my own redline restorations with satisfactory results like these. The common route to take is to buy some Spectraflame paint from somewhere like the Redline shop or Second Chance Redlines, and those are really the very best. I can't argue that. But they are expensive, and if you live off the beaten path like I do way over here in Switzerland, then you've got to add shipping on to that and the wait time, and it can be frustrating because we want to get to the projects now, not later. So I've developed a whole set of my own paints called SpectraBiC. I'm not the first one to come up with the formula by any means. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube about how to do this, but I thought I'd make my own to show you the easy steps in this DIY process. This is a huge money saver. It's super easy, and it works. It will certainly save you if you're in a pinch for time or money. Here's all you're going to need. The basic ingredient is a polyurethane high-gloss transparent clear coat that you can buy at the discount store. This is the cheapest one I could find. A couple of measuring cups for mixing. Get these on Amazon for pennies. Easy to see how much you're putting in there. If you want to get real scientific, you can get some pipettes, but you don't really need those. To store them in, I got these dropper bottles, a bag of 50 on Amazon for less than $5. You see the dropper nozzle? Comes in and out easily, and it's got a nice tight screw-down cap on. Those are 30 milliliter in size. And you need some ballpoint pens of various colors. Again, under $4. I've got some ball bearings to use as mixing balls inside the bottles. And I favor using a wide-mouthed glass jar like this. I've already decanted some of the clear coat into this one. But here's the whole process. This one's been well shaken up already. I'm in my spray booth with the ventilator on. I've got an open window and I'm wearing a good filter mask. Just blast away. The fumes you see are the propellant. About 20 seconds of spraying renders 40-50 milliliters like this. To decant the whole can takes about 4 minutes. What's important to remember at this stage is that after decanting the contents of the spray can, you have to leave the jar open to degas for a couple of hours to dispel any remaining propellant. This multi-pack of Bic pens is going to give me, let's see, 10 different colors. A bunch of them are real close to the original Spectraflame palette. Now I want to measure out about 20 milliliters into my mixing cup. Now you can do away with the pipette and just carefully pour that in if you've got a big mixing cup. Keep the cap on your decanted polyurethane. It can have a strong odor. And now you got to remove the ballpoint part of the pen. I'm using needle nose pliers with a slight grip on it and a little twist or two. Don't worry, it doesn't come gushing out. In fact, you could shake this upside down and it won't. You have to blow this out into the cup. It's going to come out in about 3 or 4 big blobs. This is where you mix it up carefully until you see it's completely dissolved with no clumps left. That's important. The most careful among us would use a small funnel here, but I just pour from the measuring cup into the dropper bottle, and you'll see I don't spill a drop, so it's possible. Another possibility at this step is to use a micromesh filter to strain the mixture, but I was very careful to make sure mine was totally dissolved. Clean the threads. Put the dropper nozzle back in place. It should be nice and snug. Screw the cap on tightly. I've already put a mixing ball in the bottom. Add a pro label to look like you know what you're doing. And tickety-boo, you've made SpectraBiC paint. Well done. Now, how about a real-world test? I've mixed up about a dozen different colors. I'll show you 3 or 4 of them. This is purple, and these are the basic white plastic spoons. The tack coat is fairly unimpressive. You might see a little bit of a violet on there, but you do not want to lay on too much too fast. I'm using a 0.35mm needle, air pressure mid-20s. Each layer builds up. You can add a bit more without fear of dripping so much, and it gets darker and darker. So, you want your car that color? Stop. I'm going to lay on a heavy 4th coat here. Now you're in Spectraflame territory. Look at that. Skipping right to the 3rd and 4th layers of subsequent colors, I was not so favorably impressed with the orange. I thought that could be richer. But the pink is absolutely supreme. That's one of my favorites. Here's some dark blue. I like this one as well. Because it's mixed with the polyurethane high gloss, you don't need to clear coat these afterwards. They dry in a high gloss finish, so it's a one-stage application. The Windex is pretty sharp too. Here's the spoon lineup. Not too long after I finished each of these. I spent less than $20 on all my supplies, and I made a good dozen dropper bottles worth. Let's have a look. The black, you can actually see shades of purple on the stem of the spoon. It's like a color shift. That's interesting. The red could have been deeper. That let me down a little bit. This is yellow. Not so impressive, but what would you expect out of a yellow pen that you were writing with? I love the dark purple. Could have kept going and put even more on. The antifreeze is good. See, they've each got a nice luster to them. That's the clear coat component. I'm calling the pink my favorite. Next year's painted pink will have SpectraBiC on it. Beautiful dark blue. As is the dark green. Now remember, you could shoot each of these in a fade too. Light in the front, dark to the back of the car, or lighter up top, fade to dark at the bottom. You know, the orange looks much better now that it's set up. And this is olive, which I made with some India ink. That wasn't a Bic pen. That was experimental. And just the clear polyurethane if I want to airbrush a clear coat finish on anything else. I've got that ready to go. And that's my experiment for today. You can also use these click pens. A ballpoint is a ballpoint. The bonus with these is, after you take them apart, at least for me, I like the springs, because that gives me some coil-over shock absorbers for upcoming customs. Bonus. By the way, I did shoot some cars too with great success, but you'll have to come back and check in future videos to see how they turned out. I hope you found this to be helpful. If you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And come on back soon and often. It's coffee time.